Ladies and gentlemen, it finally happened. The lie that just collapsed under its own weight. For weeks, Democrats have screamed that it was Republicans, that it was Mike Johnson, that it was MAGA who shut down the government. But tonight, the gaslighting ends because even CNN's own data, yes, I know, CNN, they're now proving that the Democrats' brand is in total freefall. Harry Enton, you may have heard of this guy. This is Harry Enton, guys. This is CNN's numbers guy. He called it complete garbage. 30 points underwater in the Wall Street Journal, 26 in the Gallup polls, 26 in CNN's own poll. That's not just a stumble. This is a total political implosion. And who predicted it? Well, none other than Senator Mike Johnson or Speaker Mike Johnson. Anyway, so the man that they mocked for standing his ground just exposed the biggest shutdown hoax in modern politics. Now, he said they voted to close the government, then they ran to the cameras and they blamed us. And so now the proof is right there on their own network. Even the unions are turning. Even lifelong Democrats are saying, look, I'm done. Like, this isn't just another DC skirmish. This is a revolution in real time, with President Trump back in the White House, watching the Democrat machine melt from within. So buckle up, folks, because by the end of today's video, you're going to see exactly how Mike Johnson just flipped the script, humiliated the gaslighters, and set the stage for the biggest political reckoning of our lifetime. Hit the like button and subscribe. Folks, it is November 2025, and the unthinkable just happened. CNN, the very network that spent years defending Democrats at all costs, accidentally told the truth. That's right. Their own polling analyst, Harry Enton, admitted on live television that the Democratic Party's brand is complete garbage. Not struggling, not declining. He said garbage. 30 points underwater in the Wall Street Journal poll, 26 in Gallup, and 26 in CNN's own data. Now, I want you to think about that for a second, okay? This collapse is now mathematically undeniable. Drop a garbage down below if you're seeing what I'm seeing here. And it happened on President Donald J. Trump's watch. While his policies are rebuilding confidence and the Democrats' entire narrative is imploding, all of this stuff is happening. I mean, look, the party that once controlled the narrative and the message, they can't even control the numbers. I mean, look, now for the first time in years, CNN had to tell its viewers that the Democrat machine is falling apart in real time. And so when Mike Johnson stepped up to the podium, nobody expected him to flip Washington on its head. But this is exactly what he did. Calm, firm, and laser focused, he exposed the truth. Senate Democrats voted to close the government. Then they ran to the cameras to blame Republicans. That single statement right there shattered weeks of media gaslighting because Americans saw it for themselves. The vote was on record. Johnson didn't have to shout or grandstand or any of that. He just told the truth. And this is what made his words go so viral. In a city addicted to spin, honesty cuts deeper than any soundbite. Johnson became the face of calm, conviction, while Democrats scrambled to rewrite reality. That moment right there turned the shutdown debate upside down, proving that the so-called extremists were the only adults left in the room. Now, from the start, Democrats thought the shutdown would be their golden ticket. The plan was simple: blame Republicans, paint them as MAGA extremists, and hope voters would rally behind the chaos. But instead, it exploded in their faces. Look, every attempt to make Mike Johnson the villain, it just reminded Americans who was actually holding the line for fiscal sanity. The media echoed their talking points, yet the public wasn't buying it. Polls flipped almost overnight. Independents grew furious, and even Democrat voters, they started questioning their leaders' motives. Like, why are they really doing this, right? So the Republicans hate government workers. That whole narrative collapsed the moment that Americans saw what Democrats were literally voting for. They were voting to keep the government shut. They were voting in spite of the kids that were impacted by this. You guys see what I'm saying here, right? What was supposed to be a power play turned into political suicide. And of course, the so-called strategy became the very thing that exposed their own dishonesty. Now, the biggest mistake that retirees are making with Medicare, it's waiting. Waiting until the plan changes, waiting until the bills pile up, waiting until it's too late. This is why I partner with Chapter. They help you review your Medicare plan right now before the problems show up. Now, one of our viewers, she said, I waited too long, but Chapter still helped me to fix my Medicare coverage. So let me ask you guys, are you going to just keep on waiting, or are you going to do what most people already are and taking action today? Now, most people, they're dialing that phone number right there at the bottom of your screen, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. There's a link down below. And of course, that phone number again is 909-563-8279. Oh, and listen to what one of our viewers just shared. Check this out. Carrie Mask 237 said, chapter saved me $3,500. Guys, that's real money back in your pocket and real peace of mind knowing your Medicare plan actually works for you, not against you. Now, there's a word that perfectly describes what voters are feeling today: exhaustion. Americans are sick and tired of the gaslighting. Every week they're being told that black is white, up is down, and the party shutting down the government is somehow the hero saving democracy. It is absolutely insulting. People can see the contradiction and they're done pretending not to. Now, for years, Democrats relied on manipulation through media repetition, but that weapon has lost its edge. Voters crave authenticity again. They're gravitating toward the plain-spoken language and leadership of President Trump and the clarity of Mike Johnson. These are men who speak without the DC filter. Now, the more Democrats spin, the more the American people tune them out. Gaslighting doesn't work when the lights are already on, and in 2025, Americans are seeing everything crystal clear. Now, the numbers don't lie, and this time they came from inside the house. CNN, Gallup, and the Wall Street Journal all delivered the same gut punch. Democrats are underwater by historic margins, minus 26 points, minus 30 points. And remember, this isn't coming from conservative pollsters. This is CNN's own data scientist that's waving the white flag. Look, it doesn't get any more CNN than Harry Enton looking right into the camera and calling the Democrat brand complete garbage. You can't even make this stuff up, guys. It was the kind of moment that kind of makes you stop scrolling, kind of makes you rewind and ask, what did he really just say? Right? And he did. And so Mike Johnson's arguments suddenly had receipts. What Democrats dismissed as Republican talking points are now statistically undeniable facts. Their moral authority is completely gone. Their narrative is shattered, and their media allies can't hide it anymore, not even from themselves. And so then came the perfect visual. Hakeem Jeffries live on CNN, dodging a question so blatantly that it became viral comedy overnight. Your boy Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Obama, Timu Obama. The anchor asked the question, are Democrats prepared to keep the government closed through Thanksgiving? It was a very fair, simple question, right? Well, Hakeem Jeffries froze. He smiled that fake politician smile. And then, of course, Timu Obama, he fired back, saying, the question is, why are Republicans keeping the government shut down? Now, this was instant proof of everything that Mike Johnson said: gaslighting, blame shifting, and total dishonesty. Even casual viewers notice this. The internet exploded with clips that are mocking his dodge. This right here, guys, this was the moment that the mask slipped. You can't lie to people who already watched you vote no 13 times to reopen the government. Jeffries, you are a freaking liar. Drop a liar in the comments down below. If you think Hakeem Jeffries is a liar, type in Hakeem Jeffries liar, because Jeffries really thought he was going to get away with trying to outspin reality, but he only cemented the narrative that Democrats created this crisis and then tried to blame everybody else. Now, the rebellion didn't start in Washington. Oh no, it started in the break rooms, in the factories, and the union halls across America. Blue-collar workers who once voted Democrat out of tradition, they're now walking away in disgust. Even major federal union leaders have told Democrats to stop the shutdown games and reopen the government. And that viral moment with Scott Presler and the lifelong union president, this symbolized everything that's changing. That man, proud, working class, unapologetically American, he looked right into the camera and said, I'm done with the Democrats. I'm registering Republican. Now, his reason was simple. He's tired of being lied to. The so-called party of the worker, it became the party of manipulation, identity politics, and power plays. Mike Johnson's truth-telling sparked something real, an awakening among America's backbone. The working class is returning to the America First movement. Now, even after leaving office, Biden's shadows still linger, kind of like a bad hangover. Inflation didn't just hurt wallets, it destroyed trust. Prices went up, wages stayed flat, and every Democrat excuse made it worse. Now, Obamacare subsidies, let's not forget about Obamacare subsidies having expired. Housing costs exploded, and families who once believed in Build Back Better, they're now realizing that they were sold a fairy tale. Democrats are still defending those failures, insisting everything's fine while voters are drowning in bills. Meanwhile, House Speaker Mike Johnson and President Trump, they are focused on cleaning up the mess, stabilizing markets, cutting waste, and protecting American jobs. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Competence versus chaos. The Biden years left Americans cynical, and every time Democrats try to relive those policies, it just pretty much reminds voters why they turned to President Trump and Mike Johnson in the first place. Now, President Trump, he's already made one thing crystal clear. He governs with results, not excuses. Meanwhile, Democrats play shutdown theater. Trump projects stability. He called for a clean reopening of government, cutting waste without punishing the workers. And he also reaffirmed his America First economic blueprint. The difference couldn't be starker. Democrats blame, Trump builds. So while Biden's leftover bureaucracy is still tangled in red tape, Trump and Mike Johnson are steering the ship with precision. Flights are running, paychecks are flowing, and markets are rebounding, all because leadership returned to the White House. Even critics are quietly admitting it. When President Trump acts, America moves forward. The contrast has never been sharper. One side is obsessed with political optics. The other is focused on keeping the country strong, stable, and sovereign. This is what real leadership looks like, folks. You can feel it. The panic is in the press. Legacy networks are losing their grip on public perception. The moment that CNN's Harry Enton told the truth, the entire house of cards began to fall. Editors scrambled to rewrite the headlines. Fact checkers try to reframe their own stories. And of course, liberal pundits suddenly discovered both sides of journalism. Where y'all been, right? It is desperation disguised as integrity. They know that they have lost control. The internet, independent journalists, and the truth tellers like Mike Johnson, they have broken their monopoly on information. Even former CNN loyalists they're noticing the shift. Audiences are choosing authenticity over propaganda. For decades, mainstream outlets manufactured consent, but now they're manufacturing panic, because once the people see the truth for themselves, there ain't no going back. The media empire that built the Democrat brand is now watching it collapse in real time. Now, security is not about luck. It's about preparation. But here's the real question. If your bank were to freeze your bank account tomorrow, would you still have access to your money? Well, that uncomfortable thought is exactly why I partner with Noble Gold Investments. Because when systems fail, and history says that they always do, real assets like gold and silver are what hold value. Now, Noble Gold, they help you to protect your savings and your retirement with physical metals that are stored in your name. No gimmicks, no pressure, just education and empowerment. So this is why thousands of Americans are already calling Noble Gold at 877-646-5347, or they're visiting RonYatesGold.com to get their free wealth protection kit. And of course, it's totally free for the Ron Yates community, because in times like these, control isn't a luxury, it is a necessity. And once you realize that, you'll understand why most people say, well, that just makes sense. Now, the most devastating shift isn't happening in Congress. It's happening in the middle. Independent voters, once the Democrat safety net, they're now walking away in droves. These are working families, small business owners, veterans, people who don't care about partisan theater. They care about results. And that's all they care about. I mean, like, after watching Democrats vote 13 times to keep the government closed, their patience snapped. Polling now shows that independents are siding with Republicans on fiscal responsibility, border control, and national unity. Now, many call it buyer's remorse after years of failed promises. The more Democrats scream about MAGA extremism, the more normal Americans say, hey, wait a minute. Those are the only ones fighting for us. Now, Mike Johnson and Trump didn't have to convince them. The Democrats did it themselves through arrogance, hypocrisy, and nonstop gaslighting. The middle is flipping red again. Now, behind closed doors, panic is turning into mutiny. The Democratic Party is tearing itself apart. Moderates blame the far-left activists for alienating workers. Meanwhile, progressives accuse leadership of selling out their values. No one's in charge. Kamala Harris's approval has cratered below the earth. Governors are distancing themselves, and donors are quietly freezing checks. Even Biden aides admit that there's no clear path forward for 2026. I mean, this is chaos disguised as confidence. The same party that prided itself on unity is now a battlefield of egos and fear. Every poll, every headline, every union defection, it feeds the anxiety. They already know that their brand is collapsing, and Mike Johnson's calm, disciplined leadership only magnifies that contrast. Democrats are no longer fighting Republicans. They're fighting each other just for survival. And this shows in every desperate press conference. Now, in the Trump era's second act, Mike Johnson, he has just become the steady hand in the storm here. While Trump commands from the top, Mike Johnson anchors the movement inside of Congress, disciplined, moral, and methodical. Mike Johnson, he embodies the bridge between America First energy and constitutional clarity. Democrats can't rattle him. They've tried to smear, mock, and twist his words, but it just doesn't work because his truth keeps proving itself in real time. He is exposing Washington's dysfunction with calm precision, calling out lies without theatrics, holding the line without fear. Johnson represents something rare in D.C. integrity. His leadership style gives Trump's vision the legislative backbone that it deserves. And this is exactly why the media cannot stand him. They already know that if Trump is the engine, Mike Johnson is the transmission, and together they are unstoppable. So what we're witnessing here isn't just a news cycle. This is a political realignment. Democrats are losing the working class, they're losing the middle class, even their union loyalists. They've lost pretty much everything at this point. Independents are returning to conservative common sense, and for the first time in decades, the media spell has broken. Mike Johnson exposed the Democrats' lie, Trump restored American confidence, and now the movement is expanding beyond party lines. The old establishment is crumbling, replaced by a new coalition built on faith, family, and freedom. The gaslighting failed. The manipulation failed. The people have seen just too much to ever unsee it. The Democrats' brand is in ashes, and the truth is marching forward. This is the reckoning that they never thought would come, and it's only just the beginning. Like, subscribe, stay tuned. We're just getting started here. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.